Wipe on clear coats, from a chemicals perspective, they cannot last. It just can't happen. A product with more SiO2 doesn't necessarily translate to better protection. In fact, if you have too much SiO2, it's actually gonna add haze to the paint.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Minnoxide podcast. I'm your host, Harris, aka Minnoxide, man of many automotive aspirations, and I'm here with my Ford-loving co-host, Dan.
Yep.
Mr. Gunna Garage.
I got my hat back on because I had to take it off at the last one because it was too hot to have anything on top of my head. So it's good in here. It's nice.
Well, I feel back at home because I got a GTI behind me, so
Yeah.
the universe is okay. I mean, it's cleaner than mine ever was.
Yeah.
Mine was absolutely filthy. Here's the thing: I'm the worst at keeping I'm the guy that just give it to a detailer. I'm the worst at car maintenance. But anyways, today we are here with Carson Berman. Did I nail it?
Yes, sir, you did.
Of Gtechniq North America. And I'm glad we were able to get this all sort of figured out. But why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself, what it is you do here, Gtechniq as a whole, and we'll just see where it goes from there.
Yeah, sure. So like he said, I'm Carson. So I'm the head of Gtechniq Works North America. So here in North America, Gtechniq has two divisions. So the primary division is the North American Shipping and Receiving and Warehouse Department, which is right next door.
Sure.
So that's where I actually kind of started working at Gtechniq, and the facility that we're in now is actually Gtechniq Works. So this is the actual training and marketing facility, and we do some detailing kind of on the down low, kind of lower volume kind of things to help pay for the facility and things like that. So, and it also helps me stay up to date and versed on the products, because a lot of my job is also customer support. So anything that general customer service can't handle or answer, they send over my way, and I try to do my best with it. I'm not awesome with the public, but I've been much better kind of from this job. It's kind of trained me on how to do things like that. But it's a really cool gig. I really enjoyed all of it. I started working here actually in high school. So I was a senior in high school when I started working down in the warehouse. So I put in a few years there. I went to college in Auburn University, and they were nice enough to keep me as a seasonal employee because that was super nice. I didn't have to go into crippling debt. I still went into debt, but not too much debt. It was handleable debt, right?
Yeah.
Especially for the average American, right? So once I graduated, this facility was kind of underway and under construction, and there were talks of, all right, we need to figure out who's going to kind of take the reins in this facility. And I was kind of in the back, like, hey, don't forget about me, right?
Yeah.
So I was doing some detailing on the side. I had kind of my side detailing business just to help me with some income on the side and whatnot. So I did that in Alabama, in Auburn, and I also did it here throughout college. So I kind of came back and forth. I grew up in this area, so it kind of it was a no-brainer to kind of stick around here. It's a great company to work for. I believe in the products, so it's pretty cool to have evolved and kind of taken reign over this facility. And it's nice because this is what I'm truly passionate about, right? So shipping and receiving was great, and it was awesome down there, but this is one hell of a lot nicer. And it's also really nice because I get to wash my car in an air-conditioned facility probably 3 times a week. So that's always nice.
Hey, you need air conditioning down here. We learned that one about an hour ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. You walk outside and it's 95 degrees and 80% humidity, right? So.
Yes. So how long was it, because you guys are a product company first, right? So how long was shipping and receiving the warehouse? Were they doing detailing out of there to begin with too? Or,
no.
So this was kind of an afterthought, but like maybe on the radar.
Like an addition.
Yeah. So how long was just that before this came into play?
Sure. So we came to the US around 2015, 2016, 17 or so.
Oh, okay.
And so we're still decently young in the US as far as our brand introduction here. But our headquarters is in Northampton's United Kingdom. So that's where the company began back in about 2000, 2001. And so they actually, probably around 2017 or so, had their own facility called Gtechniq Works United Kingdom. So it's kind of what this is, to the US, to the United Kingdom. So they already kind of blueprinted it, right? So they had the idea, they figured out what needs to go on, and it's really advantageous, right? Because most companies that are manufacturing product don't have a facility where they're actually utilizing the product and training and whatnot. So there's a really big disconnect between kind of, all right, I get that you're making the products, but do you actually use the products, and how do I learn about the products and whatnot? And so being able to do that in-house and not just kind of throwing it on a third party who, is subsidized to use the products and whatnot, helps us a lot to make sure that the content that we're pushing out, the training that we're pushing out, and everything that we're pushing out is the right standard and it's actually coming from the source. So they had that going on in the United Kingdom, and the previous president of Gtechniq thought, well, let's do it in the US. And so we moved to this facility, and this location that we're in right now used to be kind of a self-service car wash. We're right next to the lake, Lake Lanier. So
The
a lot of
haunted
guys, yeah, right.
Yeah.
A lot of guys would come off the lake with their boats and whatnot. They'd come to these self-service bays where we're actually sitting right now was bay 2 of the 3 bays. And they would come here and just kind of use the agonizing truck brushes and use the pressure washers on the wall and whatnot, and they get it done. And we were looking at this facility like, man, it's right next door. Like, let's build a zip line and call it a day. And the zip line got nixed, but the facility didn't, luckily.
That's insurance liability.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
We figured that one out pretty quick. We were close to doing it, and we just decided, let's get 2 scooters and a walkway, and we'll call
Yeah.
it. We'll
Were
call
you
it a
actually
day
thinking
on
about
that.
getting a zip line? Or?
Oh, it was an idea. There have been many thoughts, but
Sure.
they don't get too far. So
That's fair. Yeah. Just get 2 Lime scooters. It's all good.
Right.
Okay, so Dan's a little bit better about upkeep on his cars than I am, but
Yeah, because I have ceramic coat.
that's
That
fair.
helps. That
It
does
helps
help.
tremendously.
Yes.
But who is the target demographic here, right? So what exactly? Again, a lot of people are familiar with your product, but why don't you just kind of dive into what it is you do, what's your bread and butter, and then we kind of go from there.
Yeah, sure. So as far as the bread and butter for Gtechniq, we started out with C1, which is that coating kind of on the right side there. That's our crystal
Right above
lacquer.
my head for those
Yeah.
watching at home.
Yep. And so crystal lacquer was developed to be a protective coating for a whole wide range of painted surfaces, marine, aero, aviation, and automotive. And so automotive, without a doubt, took off kind of strong, a lot stronger than the others. And we can't really say the same nowadays. It's kind of become more neck and neck, but the C1 kind of gave us a really nice footing because it was actually developed by an astrophysicist, Drew Gill. So he's super in the weeds with this stuff, and he really knew how to do the actual formulation, and he had the chemical knowledge, and he saw a gap in the market. So formulated that product, and then Rob Earl stepped in as managing director of the company, kind of took reins from Drew, and now he's kind of the head of Gtechniq overall. So, and now we're an international company, and it's kind of started with the C1. And so really C1 just came out as a protective coating for paint. And a lot of the main markets that we started to capture initially and are still kind of prevalent today and are going to be that kind of luxury market, right? So your high-end vehicles where people aren't too worried about spending that initial upfront cost to protect what something, they view it as an investment. A lot of people view cars as A to B. That's probably not our market, right?
Okay.
Those people are going to be the people that are coming here with their trucks and using those brushes, right? And so someone like me, I look at that, I'm just like, how could you ever do that, right? So I was originally that kind of market. I didn't have an expensive car, but I cared about maintaining the paint, and that's what we've kind of seen it kind of turn into. It went from this very kind of niche market. We have Paganis and Lamborghinis and all these hypercars, right? And now it's started to kind of dissolve down to general knowledge. And a lot of people have adopted ceramic and said, hey, well, cars are, second biggest investment. Even if it's a Honda Civic or a CRV, whatever it is, right? It's still advantageous to protect it. So we've seen that kind of trickle down effect happen within this kind of segment. And now everybody, even, less expensive cars, bikes, bicycles. We have a bike line, we've seen it kind of adopted by a lot of different people from a lot of different walks of life. And so we used to say, hey, it's an automotive coating, this is what we're doing it for. And now we've kind of expanded the line to kind of overarch and kind of grab a whole lot of different segments, because really, if it's painted, you can protect it. And so that's what our kind of motto is. But yeah, we did start out with kind of the luxury market. Sure. And now everyone's doing it, and that's also thanks to just the overall industry as a whole, realizing ceramic coatings are an effective product. And there's a lot of minutia out there. You can get really into the weeds with it. You can get a lot of these people that hate it, love it. It's easy to have an extreme opinion of it, but from an objective perspective, a ceramic coated painted finish is going to work better and last longer than the comparable one that's not been protected or the one that's been waxed. So that's the goal.
Do you think that the pushback comes from the cost of the product? Because if it was $400, I don't think anybody would complain, because it is
Right.
amazing.
Right.
I mean, anybody who's
Right.
actually had it on their car can attest to how
Oh,
great
yeah.
it is. So it's, but yeah, when you're talking, I had it done. It was maybe 1,000, then 1,200, but now I'm assuming it's in that, could be 15 to 2 probably
Oh,
to
yeah.
get into that.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it ranges. I mean, now you can go crazy with it.
Yeah.
You can go 3, almost even 10 grand, and we can get into that. And really,
Sure.
the money, once it starts getting into the kind of 10 grand ish, you're getting into wet sanding and things like that. And
Yeah.
now it's not even a conversation of installing the coating; it's a conversation of people who can remove texture and kind of create show cars. And that's common with SEMA builds, and that's really not attributed to the coating. That's the prep before the coating,
Right.
right?
Okay.
So. But yeah, to directly answer you, I think a lot of the pushback initially, when we first came to the US and when coatings became popular, probably mid 2010s, all the way to 2020 or so, we saw a really big spike. A lot of the pushback was a pricing related pushback. But now I think that's actually changed a lot. I think coatings have become more approachable now as we start to figure things out more and start to learn how to make lighter and easier to install coatings. And now that our coatings have kind of, our offering has widened, and overall the industry, whatever manufacturer you're going to, they probably don't just have one coating. They have many coatings for lighter purposes, heavier purposes, introductory purposes. Now, I don't think the pushback is as much the pricing, because if you're really pushed back on pricing, you could probably learn how to do a lighter coating yourself and, start it when the vehicle is new. You don't even have to do a whole lot of prep, and you're, a couple $100 into your investment and you've got years of protection. I think the pushback has shifted from pricing now to a marketing related pushback. People don't like being over marketed to, and that's what we've seen a lot with this industry. I mean, you go to Advanced Auto Parts, O'Reilly, AutoZone, you're picking up a graphene or a ceramic or some type of tire dressing that has all these buzzwords in it. And so now that's diluted the name. And so there's one specific company on Facebook, and I'm not going to say the name, but I think we probably know where I'm going with it. It was a kind of do-it-all product. You sprayed it on trim. You could do it on anything. It would wash your car, would protect it. It was a top coat for everything. And it was just a general purpose kind of spray sealant, wax-ish kind of product. But it was so heavily marketed, and they were smart with it. They threw so much into marketing and so little into R&D, and really just private labeled somebody else's product. And they created a huge influx of sales. It was growing, and then it toppled, but they got out before they kind of lost money on it. So, and so that's one story that was started by one company, and now it's just been spread across the industry, right? So that dilutes it a little bit, because now you have everyone just saying, well, everything's a ceramic now, and I don't know what to believe, so I'm just going to stick with my wax or stick with this and that. And that has started to change a little bit now in the more recent years, because now there's true chemistry and true releases, and companies now have been more accessible than ever. I mean, you can call Gtechniq and get to my line after talking to one person, and I can answer all these questions for you and go really deep into the weeds with it. I'll spend 45 minutes on the phone with you if you really want to, and I can answer all those questions. That wasn't a thing in like 2014, 2015, right? So now there's actual information out there, and I think that's helping recover it. But a lot of it was a cost thing, it was a marketing thing, and now I think we're kind of coming back to, all right, that's a difference.
Well, I think a lot of people didn't realize the prep work like you had talked about. So a lot of that is labor, right? I mean, my guys were there for, I think, 3-4 hours. They came to my house and they put on the actual coating. Wasn't that long, but they spent time buffing the car out, make sure everything was perfect before they coated it. Yeah,
and it's status quo for kind of anything that is involving putting a protectant on or a coating. I mean, even a body shop. The paint is expensive, but you're paying so much for the prep work. You're paying for the masking. You're paying for someone who has all the sanding equipment and a vacuum system and everything like that. And it's every industry has something like that. But the labor is in the prep. And in fact, if you go to gtechniq.com, on the top center of the page, we have something called a service builder. And it's essentially a kind of algorithm that you can go and click, all right, I have a GTI and this is the condition in my paint. Hopefully you're not lying or else you're definitely gonna get a wrong price. And we get that a lot. I have a new car, it's near perfect, except it's a 2006 and it's just been sitting outside and there's mildew on the roof, but that's another story.
Yeah.
But if you're doing everything decently accurately, you'll see, all right, at the bottom, it'll tell you how many labor hours and what's the, approximate cost. Every installer is gonna set their own pricing. We as a manufacturer set the pricing for the products. Our installers ultimately determine that. They're their own business. But what you'll see is, all right, it's 20, 25, 30 labor hours to do something. 5 labor hours of that is the coating, and it'll show you that. And it'll show you a breakdown of, all right, it's $400 or $500 to install the coating, but it's $1,600 for the multi, 2-stage paint correction because you probably used a brush on your car or you just didn't maintain it right for a few years and it's been through some tunnel washes. Or if it was a North car, then you could probably have done everything right and you still need it polished. So
yeah, I keep yelling at my dad. He keeps, what's her name call it? The butcher shop, the spinning brushes. My dad's paint is so horrible with swirl marks on his truck. It's
you weren't even a part of the podcast when she called it the butcher shop.
I listened to it though.
Yeah, okay.
Just because I'm on it doesn't mean I wasn't a fan beforehand.
Yeah, he came on episode 55. He's talking about episode, what was it, 39? Jen from Cosmetology? Yeah, the butcher shop. Yeah, I mean, it's just, I'm just thinking about my GTI. It was just all peppered on the front. I'm like, it wasn't even worth protecting at that point. Real quick, because obviously there's levels to this, right? Like earlier you talked about $3,000 versus $10,000.
Yeah.
What's the difference between, again, a higher caliber product like this and let's say like a little spray on it you get for what, 20 or 30 bucks from O'Reilly's or wherever? Like it says ceramic in the name. What's the difference?
And so that's one of the problems, which was what I was talking about earlier with the whole problem being marketing now. You throw ceramic on everything now. A true ceramic product is probably going to be a solvent base. And, there's so many products out there that say ceramic, but actually they're probably a silicone blend. A lot of the water-based products, the specific products you're talking about, where they're $20, if it's a bottle and it's bigger than something like this, it's probably a water-based product. What that generally is going to be, it's some type of silicone blend that's going to give you the look-ish of ceramic and some really nice water repellency, and it's made in the lab, so it's going to be better than a Carnauba wax because it's not coming off of a tree leaf, it's coming out of a lab, and they formulate it for longevity and UV resistance. And it has its place in the market, and we actually have our own version of that called C2, which is our ceramic sealant. Really, it's kind of, there's 2 main ways that I say it fits in. It's the first is people that want a temporary ceramic-like protection on their car and they don't want to spend tons of money.
When you say temporary, how temporary are we talking?
It depends. If it were a few years ago, maybe 2-4 months. Now you can get probably up to 6 months. Some of these companies are advertising a year, not really confident in the year durability kind of thing. Maybe if you're garaging it and washing it really diligently and doing everything right. But generally, kind of the average of a lot of the products, if they're not kind of totally BSing you, is probably going to be around 4 to 6, 7 months, somewhere around that range.
And that's assuming you're in a climate like this where it's not getting filthy all the time.
Yeah, right. And so now we've kind of gotten to the point where if you go with a really reputable product that is kind of that wavelength you're talking about with the kind of water-based kind of temporary ceramic protectant, a lot of them are now layerable. Like our C2 is layerable. I mean, you could do 50 layers of the product. We had a front desk lady down there, and she actually had probably 60, 70 layers on her husband's truck. No coating, nothing like it. But if you wash it, it would look darn near coated because there's so much protection on there. You can do a really good job with just that product, and you're gonna beat 95% of the products that you're finding on general supermarket shelves.
Okay.
And so I think that's where a lot of people, and I get this call all the time where people are like, man, I watched this video, I need to go with a layer of your 5-year coating, I need to go with a 2-year coating, I gotta do this polishing and all the prep. You don't have to. That's what someone online is telling you that they're doing and that you need to do to get the realistic results. If you just want something that's a little bit easier, but you don't mind doing it a little bit more often, you can wash the car, kind of do a little decontamination, so pull out any of the contaminants like clay bar, or you can use some chemical decontaminants like we manufacture. You can use both to kind of help between both. And after you do that, you really just throw on some type of temporary protection, and it's gonna do a really, really good job. Are you gonna have to do it more often? Probably, but it's still gonna be awesome for you, and you're under $100. So that's why I think it started to change a little bit. That information is a little bit more widely available now, that you can just go out and you don't have to do the top of the top. You don't have to go with this or that. You can go with a kind of a lesser durability product that's more versatile, and you're still going to get great results out of it, and you don't have to go crazy with it.
Oh, we just got distracted by the dog
I
back
did,
there.
yeah, I did too. I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, that's a fun. I
That's
hope there's an
Ziva.
owner attached to that dog.
That's Ziva. She's the shop dog. So
Oh, okay.
that's her owner's Chris. So he's the wholesale kind of sales manager for everything there. He
Gotcha.
works down at that building. But yeah, she's super sweet. So.
Okay.
where can we find these other products that you're talking about? The stuff that I can get, the spray on stuff, all that kind of stuff too. Is it on your website, or do you guys sell on Amazon?
Yep.
Or?
So we sell on Amazon. We sell on our website, which is gtechniq.com. I would recommend ordering from there, because then if you have issues, then you call us and I get to deal with it, for better or worse. But generally I deal with it a little bit quicker than if you're going with someone on Amazon, right? Going on Amazon, you're probably gonna have to deal with Amazon first. And they can be great, they can be awful. Sometimes they'll ship something without a sprayer and whatnot. And if you order it from us, it's really, really unlikely to happen. And if it does, we're gonna make it right really quick. So Gtechniq.com is probably the best place, but we have tons of wholesalers too. I mean, there's plenty across the US, almost, several in each state. And they are really careful about what products they choose, and so we're also careful. So we partner with wholesalers. I mean, there's some bigger ones too: Detailed Image, Auto Geek, a whole lot of brands that a lot of people have heard of, and they manufacture or they host a lot of brands in their physical facilities. They're great with shipping, and the nice thing is they know the product. And so that's our main goal. We get a lot of inquiries where people always want to have our products in-house and whatnot. And we're just like, look, you're selling dog food on your page. Why are we also going to give you, our ceramic coatings? Because then people are going to call you and you have no idea, right? We want people that actually use the products, are interested in the products, and can vouch for the products. And so they're really widely available nowadays. I mean, we're a worldwide company. Really, almost any country you're in, we can get you the product.
So, okay, so what was the spray on one that you guys have? G2, right?
C2. So that's our ceramic sealant, yeah.
So what's the difference between that and, let's say, again, when we start jumping into those higher priced products where it does require an installation from a professional and all that stuff? What more am I getting out of that extra? Is there more bang for buck, and what does that protection look like, I guess?
Yeah. So
my guess is back, by the way.
anytime you're going with a water-based product, you're going to get lesser protection.
Whether you are new to working on cars or a seasoned shop owner at the top of their game, the High Performance Academy is where all car enthusiasts can go to expand their skill sets. If you want to learn how to build an engine, tune your car, improve your wiring or suspension setups, the HP Academy has the perfect step-by-step course for you. As a friend of the show, they've provided listeners with a special 55% off discount code that you can use risk-free on any course of your choosing. Details are in the description of the show below, or go to the partners page at Minnoxide.com. Go check it out. Let's get back to the show.
And so with a water-based product, it's really designed to kind of maintain your existing coating. And so that's where C2 is kind of positioned in the market. We generally make it for coating maintenance. So let's say we already have a coating on here and you didn't want to install it, or they wanted to send it to a detailer and have it actually professionally applied. You can go home and maintain your coating with something really easy to use and extend its life. Or you can just use it all on its own, and it's going to do decent for around 6 months, and it's still really water repellent. Now, when you start to get into the solvent-based stuff, it's going to last a hell of a lot longer, because these are your true ceramics. And so the ingredient that we're really talking about here is quartz or silica. And so what that is, it's SiO2. And so it's essentially, think sand. That's really what it is. It's kind of a glass molecule. And we are able to kind of liquefy it with processes that I wish I could understand. But you can kind of liquefy it and add solvents and carrier oils to it. And so that's going to allow the product to be applied like a liquid. The solvents evaporate, and now you have a solid layer of protection on your car, versus kind of a more malleable, almost plasticized layer with something like a C2. So the C2 ceramic sealant is going to give you months of protection. When you go to any of these coatings, even the lightest coating up there is going to be at least 2 years of durability. So you're really upping the ante. To be honest with you, it's not all that much harder to use. Really, it's just more prep, and it's a slower application. With the C2 ceramic sealant, I can kind of apply it however I want. If I'm really lazy, I can wash the car, I can rinse it, And then whatever drying towel I'm using, spray some C2 into my drying towel, and I'm protecting and drying the car at the same time.
That's me.
It's
I'm
so
the target
easy.
demographic.
It's
right
so
there.
easy. And so, yes, you're diluting the product. Is it going to last 6 months? Probably not. But are you washing your car once or twice a month? Probably. So if you do it every time, you're always going to be topping up protection.
That was a bold claim for me.
And so if you want even stronger protection, you can wash it, rinse it, dry it, spray the C2 on a towel, wipe it on, and then take a second towel and just kind of back buff it. And we're not talking about buffing like a paste wax. So there's no powder. Honestly, you could probably just spray it on with a damp towel. You're really not going to see anything unless it's a darker car. You might see a little spot where you over applied it. It'll just wipe off really, really quick any excess.
Okay.
Now, once we get into these kind of coatings up here, that's when, all right, if we have a high spot, we might need a machine polisher. We might need, a little bit more education in order to get it done. And to be honest with you, I've had so many people call me and they're always like, well, I don't know if I'm ready for a coating. I mean, I've never even really waxed my car. What I can go ahead and do is just say, hey, take one of our lighter coatings. So that red box up there, the Exo, is our lightest coating. And so that's kind of exoskeleton. It's amazing performance. It's just not a ton of durability. So 2 years of durability, but amazing performance. I mean, up to par with our 9-year coating as far as performance goes. And the surface characteristics, so the repellency is great, slickness is great, gloss is excellent. And you don't need to do a ton of prep to get it to look right. I mean, you can learn how to use a polisher on YouTube now, and you don't even have to be that great with it. The machines are so much more advanced nowadays that you can get away with not really knowing how to polish, and you're really unlikely to damage your paint. And you throw on the coating. Most people, if they haven't ever installed a coating and all they do is kind of wash their vehicle and they know a little bit about detailing, after maybe a 20-minute phone call with me or just going on YouTube and kind of looking at the videos that are available out there, you can coat a car within probably 5 or 6 hours.
Okay.
So you don't have to be this kind of absolute top tier master of this kind of stuff to get a really good result. Now there's levels to the game, right? You go to one of our installers and they can probably take out random isolated defects. And if a spot's really deep, they can kind of measure the paint and say, hey, we can probably remove some of the thickness there. That's the air compressor running. We are in a live shop, but it's a very kind of easy process if you want to make it. You can make it complicated if you want to as well. So the performance of the products is there, and there's a product to kind of suit every type of market that we have.
So all the way up to the Ultra, because I'm a very big do-it-myselfer kind of guy.
Yeah.
So
or pawn it off on the kids, whichever you choose.
yeah, or whatever. That's one of the other reasons I cars clean is I have children that help me wash my car. They want to go to the car show, it needs to come out and get washed. Anyway, all the way up until the Crystal Serum Ultra, this is available to myself and any consumer.
It is, yes.
Okay.
The only product that's available, that's not available, that's up there is going to be that Crystal Serum Ultra.
Okay.
And here's the cool thing. We're one of the only companies out there that offers professional grade coatings to the consumer. And what I mean by that is that Ultra, if you get a high spot of it and it's a humid day, that can happen probably within 15 seconds, you risk having to wet sand your paint. And that gets advanced. The nice thing is we have a product, Crystal Serum Light. Crystal Serum Light is literally Crystal Serum Ultra diluted by 20%. You're getting the same exact technology, but if you need that get out of jail free card, you can take some polish even on a towel and just kind of wipe that spot, and it'll probably remove the high spot if it's fresh. Now, if it's been a few days, you might need a machine to paint correct that, but you can kind of, you can install a professional level product without having to worry too much about it. So that's the really cool thing with it. I think a lot of people are dissuaded by it and they're nervous on doing it. If you have an issue, we're here to talk to you, and it's not necessarily like time is of the essence to fix the problem. Now, yeah, if you mess up your entire vehicle and there's high spots of product that you didn't level all across it, you're going to be several hours polishing it. But you would have to mess up so bad. And the funny thing with it too, you would have to mess up, realize you're messing up, and then still continue doing it. So you would, if you messed up on this panel, you would see kind of a thick spot where it almost looks faded and dull.
Sure.
You would look at that and be like, I'm going to call them. You're probably not going to look at that and be like, yeah, I'm doing a good job. I'm just going to continue doing the rest of the car. I mean, it's happened a few times. We see it all, but it's unlikely. So the barriers to entry seem high, but it's not too crazy. If you want to go super high level with it, sure. something like the Ultra, you need to be more trained on it. You need to have a temperature controlled facility. You need to worry about humidity and whatnot. All the other coatings up there, if you follow the instructions, you're not going to have a hard time with it.
Do you have an applicator here handy?
Yeah. Do you want to apply some?
Well, I don't want to apply some, but let's not go that far. But can we see, so you just, because I've seen them kind of do it before. You kind of put it on there and just wipe it on. And can you tell us a little bit on how, I don't need like a full in-depth installation video, but just kind of give us a ballpark of how you would apply it?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
So, all right. So as far as the application goes, I'm just going to take some of our panel wipe. This is an alcohol prep solution. So it's a combination of a few different types of alcohols. It's rubbing alcohol, ethyl alcohol, and then a wetting agent to help kind of reduce your surface friction.
Sure.
So you can go super deep into the weeds with it. Like the rubbing alcohol in here is going to help dissolve anything that's hydrophobic, like waxes, sealants. Anything hydrophilic is going to be taken care of by the ethyl alcohol. It's just kind of the polarity of the bond of the residues that are on the panel. But really all you need to do, wash the car. You can go crazy with it, right? I'm keeping it really simple. But if you want to do a super quick application, you can wash the car, clay bar the car. The clay bar is going to kind of physically remove the roughness and contamination. Basically what contamination is over time when you drive and the sun heats and cools the paint and just everything kind of hits your paint, some contamination, some debris, and some traffic film will embed itself into the clear coat, kind of like the pores of your skin. So think you're going to wash the car, remove as much of that as possible, and now you're going to exfoliate the car with the clay bar. We have chemical exfoliators as well. Generally, you want to use the chemical stuff first because it's going to help reduce the amount of contamination that you need to physically remove. Mm-hmm. Anytime you're physically touching the car, you risk damaging the surface, marring, scratching, anything like that. So you want to try and let the chemicals do the job first, but you can honestly skip the step if you really just want to go super abridged with it. Wash the car, clay the surface. If you're happy with the way it looks, you can panel wipe it and apply the coating. If you want to, after claying, but before using the panel wipe, you can polish the vehicle with a machine if you're inclined to. If you're not, you can skip the step. It's no big deal.
So when I clay bar it though, because you need to use some sort of lubricant while clay barring, right? So what would you recommend? Because I've seen where you use like a spray wax or something to use your clay bar. Would you use just water then at that point? Or
water is not super lubricating. You probably can, but you want to give it as much friction as possible, or sorry, as much lubrication as possible to limit the amount of friction. More friction means more chance of scratching the paint.
Yep.
So we have a product called Quick Detailer. Grab that, clay with a Quick Detailer. Quick Detailer is a lubricating agent. There's no protection in it. Mm-hmm. You can use a spray wax, you can use something that has protection in it, but then you're gonna have to work harder to remove it with panel wipe,
right?
Because any spray wax is gonna inhibit the bond of the coating on the pores of the paint. So wash it, clay it with the Quick Detailer, rinse it and dry the car. Now you're gonna use the panel wipe. This is, again, that strong alcohol solution. I'm just gonna do 2 sprays on my towel. And so we'll just coat this kind of spot here. I'm just gonna go ahead and wipe that panel down with the panel wipe. And I'm gonna wipe it a little bit more than I probably need to because I do already have a good amount of coating on this. That would be kind of crazy if I didn't, right?
Right.
That'd be awkward.
And so already with just the panel wipe, my hand's a little bit grabbier here than it is on the rest of the car. And that means that it's kind of pulled a lot of anything that's gonna inhibit the bond of the EXO on the surface. So we've panel wiped it, and now I'm gonna take the EXO product. Inside that box of EXO is gonna be the bottle itself, an applicator pad, a set of instructions, and some gloves. So you've pretty much got everything to go. And the EXO, I mean, you're under $100 to do this to a vehicle.
Okay.
A vehicle this size, 75 bucks.
Okay.
Right? So it's not crazy expensive. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do what I call a bartender's pour. So 1 to 2 second pour. Now, I call it a bartender's pour, but you don't wanna drink it because that's not good. Now, all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take generally a 2 foot by 2 foot section. This is gonna be more like a 1 foot by 3 foot section because I'm gonna go with that kind of side here. I'm gonna take what's called a river. So I'm gonna draw a river of product. And now I'm gonna go through and kind of go in these 50-50 overlapping motions. And this is pulling product from that river so that we evenly distribute the protectant. And now I'm just gonna go back over it. And so this is called a crosshatch. Think like you're drawing a river, then you're going like a chess or a checkerboard. You're just trying to make sure you have even coverage across the car.
Okay.
And so now what we're going to do is we're going to wait around probably 30 seconds up to a minute because we've got the temperature controlled in here. EXO is our lightest coating, which means we have the most carrier oils and the most solvent in this product. And it's the lightest solids compared to most of the other coatings that we make. That's really beneficial to a first-time user because it's a lot easier to work with. And the really cool thing with EXO is it's going to give you 2 years of durability all on its own. It's going to be incredible as far as water repellency, slickness, gloss, and everything like that. So what I'm looking for is I'm looking for that kind of wet line of solvent to turn into something that resembles forehead sweat. And so that can take a long time if it's in a controlled facility like this. It can take less time if you're outside, or even if we have a garage door open or something like that. So you can probably already start to see it. I don't know if the camera is going to exactly pick it up, but we're starting to see the sweat happen in some of these areas like that, a few other spots here. I'm going to let it over sweat because I'm so comfortable with this product. I know we're not going to have any issues with it. And so when we get to the higher solids coatings, this is going to happen a hell of a lot faster. So something like Crystal Serum Ultra, I would be really nervous leaving it for this long. Like I would be like, uh-oh, that's not a good situation. Crystal Serum Light, it's about time to remove it. EXO, we've got a little bit more time. So we see those. Are you guys seeing those beads at all?
Yeah.
So it looks like sweat.
Dan last episode.
And so really, if you are so nervous about it and you're like, I don't even want to wait for the sweat, you can apply it and wipe it off immediately. You're probably going to get a little bit less durability because that chemical reaction isn't happening with the paint. And I can explain what's going on here.
Sure.
But the longer you wait, the more it's going to bond. But if you wait too long, you're going to have issues. So always err on the side of caution here. Once we start to see the product sweat a little bit, that's how we know it's time to go. And I probably let this sit a little longer than I needed to.
Yeah, it's total now. I'll buy it off for 50%.
The problem is I don't know what car I would get other than this GTI. I love this too much. So now all I'm going to do, I'm going to take 2 towels. I'm going to go ahead and wipe the majority of it off with this first towel. And then I'm going to take a second towel and I'm just going to buff that area. And you'll see that haze is going to start to kind of go away. And it's extremely slick. I'm talking ridiculous. And so what we're going to do is...
I don't know if it's just my brain, but it looks shinier right
It's pretty solid, right? And so the cool thing with EXO, some of our other coatings won't give it this big of a pop. The cool thing with EXO is it's really high in something called siloxanes. Siloxanes are what's giving you all the surface characteristics that you want. So the slickness, gloss, ease of maintenance, the self-cleaning effect of the vehicle, that's being given to you by a product like EXO. Whereas something like Crystal Serum Light, it's going to happen to an extent, but the goal of something like Crystal Serum Light is also really high on the protective scale. And so that's the silica or the SiO2 in the product. So something like EXO has very low silica and very high PDMS or polydimethylsiloxane, or siloxanes for short. That's what's giving you all that kind of wet, drippy gloss, all the characteristics that we want out of a coating. And so you can go crazy with it. You can install Crystal Serum Light, which is going to have higher silica, decent, siloxanes. So you're going to get really good durability, 5 years of durability from that white box, the Crystal Serum Light. But it's not going to give you as good water repellency and slickness and gloss as the EXO. So that's why it's our most flagship coating to actually stack them. So you can do a layer of Crystal Serum Light and then come back within 1 to 12 hours, and you can do a layer of the EXO, and now you're absolutely killing it. Okay. You've got the best of both worlds. You've got durability, and you've got the overall kind of slickness and performance of the coating.
Well, that was my big thing all the time. Like when I was learning about ceramics, is like, or just protecting your car in general, right? It seems like a multi-step thing. So you have the protection, but then like the whole slippery, like I do it for the slippery feel, right? Like easy cleaning and all that. So can you kind of touch on that a little bit more? Like what does what, and how does combining them, I guess, work, in that regard? Yeah,
sure. So when you get to the formulation of the coatings, there's really 2 ways you can go. You can bump it super high in the silica or the SiO2.
And that's the protection part.
Yeah, that's the protection. Or you can bump it really high in the siloxanes, right? And you can start to do a little bit of both, but you don't want to go crazy with it because then the coating gets really hard to install. And a common misconception in the industry is, how much SiO2 do you guys have in your product? I get that email so many times a week. It's not a proper question, and it's not a question you should be worried about, because a product with more SiO2 doesn't necessarily translate to better protection. In fact, if you have too much SiO2, it's actually going to add haze to the paint.
What kind of world is it when your New Balances got more miles than your car? It's a world where you thought a stock ECU from over a decade ago would cut it, not knowing there's a way to get better traction control, launch control, and most importantly, engine protection features. It's a world where you didn't know you could save 5% on a Haltech plug-and-play kit for your C6 Corvette using code Minnoxide. How's that jingle go again? Go to tunedbyshawn.com to get your Haltech goodies and see what's right for your build. Whether it be a C6 Corvette, a Supra, or any other project you've been cooking, there's a solution for you. Link in the description. Let's get back to the show.
So it's not something that you always want. You really want someone who knows what's going on with the back end of the products. The question shouldn't be how much concentrate of SiO2 do you have in it. It should be, how are you blending the product, and what kind of siloxanes are you going with, and how are those working together with each other? That's the proper question. So at Gtechniq, our kind of flagship, those products that come in the fancy looking boxes, Ultra, CSL, EXO, and Halo, those are your composite-based coatings. So they're going to have a blend between both. They're going to be the best of both worlds. And the really cool thing with the way that those coatings work is when they get really higher solids, like the Crystal Serum Ultra and Crystal Serum Light, you have a chemical reaction that's happening with the paint where you have multiple layers of coating happening, even though you're installing one layer of coating. So take, for example, Crystal Serum Light. When we take that and apply it to the paint, it's going to sweat. It's going to do what we just saw happen. It's going to happen a little bit quicker because it is a little higher solids. What's going to happen is that one layer of coating is going to chemically separate into two layers. You're going to have a softer base layer, which is going to be around 7 hardness. That's more flexible, so it can expand and contract with the clear coat, which allows longevity to happen with the coating. That top layer will also cross-link and attach to that 7 hardness base layer, and that's going to be about a 9 hardness top layer with Crystal Serum Light. And so the benefit of that is when we're washing the car, we get minor wash abrasion resistance, and we just get overall durability because it's a harder, less permeable surface than the clear coat was before. So really what we're doing is we're kind of sealing in the pores and kind of shrinking the pores of the clear coat so that we have less kind of surface area for dirt and things to grab onto. That's really all these coatings are doing. Now, when you get into certain types of coatings like EXO versus CSL, we can have one be a little bit slicker, so it's going to fill in a little bit better, but it might not last quite as long because it's kind of it's a man-made kind of, the siloxanes in the EXO it's more of a kind of plasticized ingredient that has a little bit lower life versus silica, which is almost glass, right? That stuff lasts for a really long time, 9 years with the Crystal Serum Ultra. So it gets really deep into the weeds, but really all you need to know of what's actually going on here is you are shrinking the surface area or shrinking the kind of, I guess, nooks and crannies of the clear coat, so less is going to stick to it. And the reason why we recommend a 2-layer system is there's no possible way that we could get the performance of something like CSL and EXO in a single bottle of coating and it still maintain usable. It's so difficult to get that to work. And some other brands try to do that, and it becomes so much more work to get that one product applied that it just ends up falling short. And you don't apply it the way that it should be applied. Okay. So then what's actually happening with the durability? We're not actually getting what they're claiming because we can't even apply the darn product right. And so the cool thing with these products is they're so simple to apply. Yeah, maybe you're going to want to do a 2-layer system if you want the best of both worlds, if you want the best of durability and the surface characteristics, but that's actually a good thing. It's allowing you to choose. The other really cool thing with having that kind of system here, the plasticized, the siloxanes are going to kind of wear away faster than the silica or the SiO2. So now what we can do is we can effectively maintain the coating much easier than a lot of other brands. If we go in with another brand's coating that's trying to do the best of everything all in one kind of thing, and we have a product that actually does better than that, the Ultra, it does better than a lot of these other single coatings that are supposed to be lifetime and everything like that. Just doing 1 layer of each is gonna blow your mind just what the Ultra is gonna do in comparison to the other products. But you top that with EXO, now we're getting amazing performance, but we're going to get really easy maintenance because what happens is Ultra is challenging to apply. I'm not going to try and sugarcoat it. EXO is very easy, right? You can have someone, take their car to an installer, they install that 9-year coating, they install the 2-year coating. A few years down the road, when that siloxane layer starts to wear down a little bit, the hydrophobics aren't as amazing, everything like that. Now we can take the EXO and we can just top the Ultra and EXO that we did a few years ago. We can just top it with EXO. We can maybe even do it at home, or if we're not comfortable, take it back to an installer. They're gonna charge us way less because it's a much easier coating to install. And now our coating looks like day one and we're at year 3 or year 4 or year 5 on the coating. A lot of other brands say, hey, if you're not liking the performance, you gotta come back and redo that whole original situation.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right? So with us, you have the maintenance protocol. And we've been around long enough that we realize it's a good idea to have the maintenance protocol. Once you're a company that's young, it's not a big deal. You just sell the product and it's good. But if you're trying to stick around, you're gonna get a lot of phone calls and a lot of emails that are really upset because you have to go right back to that original coating. So
that all kind of makes sense then. So you do the heavy lifting on the front end, get the car paint prepped, just everything prepped, get that first layer on, and then basically as those characteristics start to fail over whatever 2, 3, 4 years, you just kind of re-up on that then.
Yeah.
Am I understanding that correctly?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Well,
and so we get that a lot, and I don't mean to interrupt, but I just wanted to finish this thought before I lose it because I know I'm going to lose it. That's the whole goal with this kind of situation. You know, a lot of people don't realize that, all right, you know, it's a 9-year coating, right? That means it should be repelling just as good for all 9 years. It's not what we're covering. We're covering the protection on the paint, right? And protection is really hard to be seen with the naked eye. If you look at it and it's not beating water, people assume, the protection's not there, right? That's probably not the case. We can still measure the protection on the paint. That coating thickness is still there. But people don't want to hear that, right? So we're transparent. We say, look, we know that the performance is probably going to die a little faster than the overall durability of the coating. You can maintain it. You can maintain it with products. You can maintain it with EXO. You can maintain it with C2 and EXO, or one or the other. And you're going to extend the life of that coating, and you're going to make it look like day one throughout the 9 years, right? But regardless, even if you just wanted to keep it super simple and you just wanted to care about protection and know that it's there, let's say you're in Florida and you're not a car guy, but you got a work truck and you want to help prevent it from UV as much as possible, you can just throw Ultra on there. It's still going to look incredible. It's still going to be really well. Maybe 5-6 years down the road, it's not going to be quite as repellent as it was. But you can be, you know, rest assured that actual UV protection and the overall hardness and durability of that coating is there for the full 9 years. And that's what's being covered.
So, but so you kind of answered my question anyway. So if I put on, like, let's say crystal serum, and I just want to, because again, some people may not understand too, you're still going to need to wash your car. It's just going to be a lot easier to wash your car, and you're going to be done a lot quicker.
Right.
Afterwards though, like, I usually take a spray and I'll wipe it down. So if I'm doing that and then I'm using C2 after I've washed,
you're killing it.
I'm gonna
you're killing it. I mean, if you're doing that, even if you're not garaging the car and it's in Florida and it's in the Northeast and you've got a harsh winter, you're still going to get really, really nice durability out of the coating. And so my whole deal with the EXO, and more specifically with the C2, the ceramic sealant, it's so darn easy to apply. Let's say you're going into winter and you are in the north, you're in New York and they're putting that aggressive mixture on the roads, right? Do C2 a little bit more often. That's now your top sacrificial layer. Let's make sure the C2 wears away and your underlying crystal serum light or your underlying EXO or your underlying CSL and EXO are still kind of there, right?
Okay.
So it's really, how much maintenance do you want to do? We're not here to tell you set it and forget it, because that's not what we are as a brand.
It doesn't exist.
It doesn't happen. If it's too good to be true, it's not true, right? And that's with everything in life, especially with coating. So the work you put in to maintain it is going to reward you tenfold down the road with the longevity of the coating and how often you need to have it detailed. The really cool thing with the coating is you don't really need to do a whole lot of the polishing and all that super often. I have polished this car once and all I've done is wash it. Now, I've definitely washed it way more than most people probably should. It's probably considered unhealthy. It's definitely considered unhealthy, but it's basically almost never going to need recoated as long as I just do the maintenance and everything like that. That's an extreme scenario, and you're probably going to need it recoated after the 2-year, 5-year, 9-year mark. But it's nice to know that the longevity of the coating is really up to the end user. It's up to you. And so there's a lot of miseducation out there that just says, hey, throw this on and we're gonna warranty or guarantee the coating. And you go in and look at what's actually being covered, and then you start to realize I was probably oversold on what it is. We have a guarantee, but it's available on our website. It's plain English. It tells you bullet points. Do not take your car through a car wash. Have it re-inspected once a year. It's very plain English. If you have a problem with it, don't get the coating, right? So if you're unhappy with it and you feel like you were oversold, it's probably someone not doing their homework if you're going with Gtechniq. Other brands, maybe not. They're probably overselling you and saying that it's this bulletproof kind of magic pill you swallow. And so that's probably not doing the industry a huge service, but...
Well, what's the biggest disservice to the industry that you see?
Probably just that. It's probably people trying to market this magic pill product. And, you know, one of the most common magic pill products that we're seeing now and has come up in the past few years is going to be like a wipe-on clear coat.
Okay, is that the biggest thing that's kind of catching fire right now?
It's definitely, I wouldn't say it's the biggest thing that's catching fire, but it's grabbing a lot of people's attention because it's too good to be true, and generally anything that is going to grab a lot of people's attention, right? So you have something like a wipe-on clear coat, and there's limitations to these types of things, and the average person doesn't have a ton of chemical knowledge and background. They probably don't need to know how to use these products. But if you want to make sure that you're actually understanding what's going on and you're not being oversold on what's going on, it helps to have a little bit of background. So something like these wipe-on clear coat products, it's a 1 part or 1K kind of solvent mixture. So basically what that means is it's far different and it's way lower solids than your actual clear coat. It sounds too good to be true, and it is. The paint that's on any vehicle that's kind of base coated and clear coated from factory, or any paint that's actually done by a reputable shop, and you're not just going for that $500 respray job, right? You're gonna get a 2K system. So
what's the 1K and a 2K thing mean?
Yeah, so a 1K basically just means it's ready to spray right out of the can. You don't have to do anything. There's no mixing, there's nothing like that. So like paint on your house. It's not the right kind of idea, but it's a decent enough analogy that you can wrap your mind around it.
Sure.
It's 1K. You just wipe it on and you're good. Any Rust-Oleum spray paint that you're getting at Home Depot, that's a 1K product. You're spraying it on and it's pre-mixed and you're good to go. The problem with 1K is it can only harden so much, right? After those solids evaporate, you're left with whatever solids and actives and hardeners are in that formulation. With a 2K product, you have a part A and you have a part B. So once you mix part A and B, you've got a very short life to get that product applied to the paint, or else there's going to be issues. And currently there's not a single 2K wipe-on clear coat that either I know about or B, you want to know about. Because if you go with a 2K wipe-on product and it's anywhere near its weight, as soon as you wipe it on, it's not going to level itself out and flatten. You're just going to have this wipey, streaky looking car, right? So with a 2K product, you know, you can actually buy a can of 2K clear coat in a rattle can on Amazon. It's from a company called SprayMax. I love SprayMax. I use it on a lot of headlights for restorations and whatnot, and then I'll lock it in with a coating. But you'll notice a 2K product, the aerosol can, there's a button on the bottom. You have to smash the can on your floor so that button activates, and you have about 24 hours to use that can before it turns into a brick. I mean, we're talking like slice the can open and you just have a rock of clear coat. That's a true clear coat, right? So these wipe-on clear coats, from a chemicals perspective, they cannot last. It just can't happen because there's just not enough hardener in there for it to actually harden aside from that solvent evaporating from the mixture. So that's doing a little bit of a disservice for the brand, especially because even if you're not skilled with a camera, you can take a camera and make it look okay and make it sellable. And the 50/50s look awesome. You take an oxidized car and you throw some wipe-on clear, it's gonna look awesome for a little bit, but then you really zoom in and you start to see the texture and you see your applicator lines and it's just wavy and then it flakes off in years, or worse, almost worse than flaking, is it starts to just get faded with the UV. It's a mess. So that's doing a little bit of a disservice because they're basically, what they're doing is they're not really doing a whole lot of polishing or anything like that. They're taking the most labor intensive section of the whole detail and they're removing it, right? They're washing the car, they're maybe claying it, they're wiping this product on, and they're charging thousands of dollars. And it's a get rich quick kind of deal. Maybe it works on a few types of substrates and whatnot, but it's not generally an accurate solution for someone who's actually discerning, customer, or someone who actually wants to keep their vehicle for years.
Well, the thing with that, what I've heard about those types of products, it also comes down to installation. And I've heard the excuse like, all right, if you get a proper installer, no big deal. One of the things that I heard, and maybe you can rectify whether this is true or not, but call back to episode 97, is if you install it incorrectly, you basically have to like sand the whole car or wet sand the whole car, but there's no clear way of telling whether you're through the layer or not. Is that true, or did I misunderstand that?
You can generally tell. If you have a skilled eye, you can tell, because the wipe on clear is less optically clear than your 2K clear coat. So you'll see a little bit less haze go away, and you'll almost have this kind of line. Think like peeling skin after a sunburn. You kind of see that ring of skin that's about to happen. It's very similar to what you're going to see on the paint when you're sanding it. Here's the problem. You can't exactly target things super well when you're wet sanding. Let's say I had that kind of line right here and I'm trying to sand that back. Let's say the line's right here. I'm having to take a block and I'm sanding this way. I'm sanding just my clear coat now. So now I'm thinning this factory clear, trying to remove the kind of feathered edge of that wipe on clear. And so now we're thinning the true clear coat even more on my vehicle, and we're damaging the surface, because the thinner and thinner you take your clear coat, the less and less protection you have. Clear coat is going to have UV inhibitors in it. A lot of those inhibitors are kind of in that top layer. They start to settle out, especially as clear coat fades and ages. A lot of those inhibitors go to that top layer. You might not have seen this super often. This car in the back is actually a pretty good example, the Sentra. This clear was so faded that I had to really remove a lot of paint.
This car was?
Yeah.
Dude, that thing looks brand new.
Right?
I've been staring at this thing this whole time.
It looks decent.
What year is it?
I think it's a 2004. It's rough.
Jesus.
Right, you want to buy it? I'll sell it right now.
I'm just saying, it looks
I was just
brand
thinking,
new.
like, why is there a Sentra in here? Then I see it some kind of R or something.
Project car.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a SEMA car a long time ago, back when those were really cool, and they're not cool anymore. So,
Okay.
well, I don't know. I guess everyone has different opinions. I'm not a fan of it, but also, I mean, yeah. So,
But anyways,
as far as what I had to do to that, I had to, basically what I did is I measured the paint. And so you can measure the paint. It tells you the total thickness of your paint. So this car has probably 4.8 mils or millionths of an inch of paint on it. And so a general rule of thumb, the way that you can kind of measure how much clear coat you have is you can kind of take the number on the outside of the car and then measure your inside door jambs where they really just lightly dust clear coat, and subtract those two numbers, and that's going to tell you about how much clear coat is on your vehicle. This car's got about 2.5 mils. It's $2 bills thick, maybe less. So super thin, right? So when we're polishing, we're removing maybe 0.2 or less mils, probably way less when we're just polishing, maybe 0.02, 0.05 mils. So you can polish a lot. But if you compound and polish and wet sand some spots, like I had to do on that to remove the oxidation, you're removing a lot of the UV inhibitors in that clear coat that tend to settle to the top of the clear. So the car has, for lack of a better word, less shelf life outside now. So what we had to do is I installed our C1, which is our crystal lacquer up there. It's good for single stage paints, which that was. Or, even on clear coat, you're still gonna have that kind of deal where you need to measure the paint, and it helps you to kind of know how much paint you have to work with. But we took it really thin. We are gonna extend the life a little bit with something like our C1, which has a lot of UV inhibitors in it. But again, it's not going to be as long lasting now as, just having fresh paint on it, because the paint is just so much thicker. We're talking, all these coatings are going to be microns thin. We're really, really thin. Yeah, they're 9 hardness, right? And so 9 hardness means generally hard as diamonds, right? Does that mean I can take a key and go ahead and wipe it across my car? No. And the reason why isn't because it's not 9 hardness and we're lying to you. It's because that layer is so thin, it's microns and microns thin. The hardness tends to become less of a factor when you have something that's extremely thin, that's less than the thickness of a human hair, right? You still have some clear coat poking through. It's smoothing out the pores. It's generally not putting this thick layer on top of the pores. Now, there are products that do that. So like on the front clip here, I have paint protection film. That's a physical thick layer. It's around, probably 10 mils thick. So, 2-3 times thicker than the whole entire paint system from primer to clear on my paint. That's a physical barrier, right? And so if you key that, it's going to prevent that key from actually damaging your clear coat. But the problem with it is it gets a little sticky and it feels like a plastic bra that's on your car. We have a product called Halo, which is our flexible film coating. You install that to it, and the whole goal behind that is to extend the life of this so it doesn't yellow as much. But number two, it's also designed to make it look and feel more like paint. It's butter slick, and it looks just like paint. Yeah. So part of that's the quality of the film that you're installing. Part of it's also putting a coating on top.
So you kind of like that film plus ceramic combo then? Okay.
Yeah. I'm a huge fan of it because a lot of people don't want to spend the extra couple $100s to either have the installer or do it themselves to throw on the halo on top of your film. Film is so expensive, man. Like, you want to get your life out of the film. So like this is Suntech. So this is a 10-year film.
Sure.
Will it last 10 years? Maybe. If I keep it outside all the time and I'm not washing it awesome, definitely not going to last 10 years, maybe a couple years. The halo on top, a few $100s on top of several, this is probably $3,000 of film on here. A couple $100 to have someone actually install that versus, replacing all the film, right? You want to extend the life of the film as much as possible. Right. Mm-hmm. So that's why that makes, it's a no-brainer kind of deal for me. A lot of people call and they're like, well, what's the limit to this? When do I stop? And really, you can stop whenever, but why stop when you're 90% of the way there? Okay. That's kind of my intention, my thought process behind it.
Can you touch on the whole hardness thing, right? And just because I've heard it's a different hardness scale, it's measuring the hardness of a pencil or whatever. I've heard various things. Can you just kind of explain that a little bit?
Yeah, so it's called a pencil hardness test, and it's an ISO test. I believe it's ISO 41001. That's the name of the test. Mm-hmm. And I'm less educated on this, but I have enough of it that I feel okay to talk about it.
You seem dangerous.
I'm not the most qualified, and it's always rough when there's a camera filming you, but I'm going to try my best, and I'll get yelled at later. Now, as far as what that is, the reason why it's called a pencil hardness test is because they're taking a pencil with different substrates on it, and they're saying, all right, this is 4 hardness, this is 5 hardness, here's a thick layer of the coating, and is it scratching it? That's really what it's doing. And so it's a very rudimentary test kind of thing. Let's say a fingernail is 5 hardness. They take something that's kind of a scratch or that's equal hardness to it, they layer the coating, and they say, did it scratch the coating? And so, maybe it didn't scratch the coating, but it could have scratched the clear, right? So it helps to harden the clear coat. The drive home point of the ISO test, part of it's a marketing thing, and I'm not going to dismiss that. It definitely helps market the product, right? But part of it actually does drive home real world results and actual take home durability. Let's say this clear coat is a 4 out of 9 hardness. The scale goes up to 9 being diamonds. So basically, if something is a hardness of 9, a diamond can't really scratch it, right? So you can't scratch a diamond with anything that's 7 or 6 or 5 hardness, anything less than 9, right? Now, the kind of take home point to it with this, let's say this is a 3 or a 4. Generally, clear coats are around a 5, 6. We take something that's, let's say it's a 9 hardness product like Crystal Serum Light. Is it going to take this 4, 5, or 6 up to a 9 hardness? It's not going to do that.
Okay.
Will it improve the hardness maybe 1 notch? Yeah. So something that was, a 5 hardness that used to scratch this maybe has to be a 6 hardness now to scratch it, or a 7 hardness to scratch it.
So it doesn't by default make your protection on 9. It just improves the already existing characteristics.
Yes. Okay. And by how much, really hard to know. It takes a lot of expensive machinery to know, right? Mm-hmm. It comes down to how thick was it applied and everything like that. And now this is where things get a little misconstrued, because we have people that call and they're like, hey, I've got your Crystal Serum Light. Let me do 5 layers of this stuff. Let's just build it up like crazy.
Okay, that's my next question.
Yeah. It doesn't really work like that. You can't, some coatings are layerable. We've seen some success with some of our quartz-based coatings being layered. I still don't recommend it because you're not gonna get a whole lot of performance out of it, maybe a 2% gain, and you're gonna waste a lot of money on products. So I wouldn't recommend it across the board. None of our solvent-based coatings should be layered, to be honest with you. Just install 1 thicker layer. But especially with our composite-based coatings like Ultra, CSL, layering those gets really complicated because remember, as I said, you apply 1 physical layer of Crystal Serum Light or 1 physical layer of Ultra, and it's chemically separating into 2 layers. Now, if we apply multiple physical layers, we are layering and layering, it starts to reject the coating. So the
Okay.
existing coating is now rejecting more
It
coating.
doesn't have anything to latch onto. Sort
Not
of deal?
really. And what most people do with layering the product, they apply multiple thinner coats to stretch the bottle rather than just applying one full bottle and one thick coat. That's way more beneficial. So don't think you're adding a whole lot more hardness or anything like that. If anything, you actually might reduce the hydrophobics. It's probably not going to kill your paint or anything like that. It's not going to do any damage. But why do all that extra labor when there's really law of diminishing return with applying multiple layers to the product?
You know what breaks my heart? No, it's not the 2% female demographic. It's the fact that 80% of you guys are not subscribed and following the show. So go ahead, hit subscribe or follow. And of course, if you're on YouTube, hit that bell so you are notified when we drop a new episode. Let's get back to the show.
What about when it comes to installation? Because I've even filmed videos because I used to do stuff for like shops for a little while there. When somebody's installing a ceramic product, finally taking the gloves off.
I didn't even realize it. I had no
It makes
idea.
you
I was
so
like,
much
hang
more
on, I got the
professional.
glove. I know, right?
Who is this guy?
Listen to me, I'm the guy with the gloves.
Yeah, Dr. Was it Berman?
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, it's got a good ring to it. But anyways, I've seen people basically like do all the prep work on a car, and now it's time to install. And they'll go around the car one time, let it sit for a while, go another time. Is that how it's supposed to be done, or is it just like one layer and done?
You definitely don't want to let it sit too long before you level off the product because you want to make
Right.
sure you don't have high spots. But the second part of that is, all right, I'm going to apply it, let it sit a long time, and then I'm going to do it. The coatings generally are going to harden at the rate which we've tested in the facility. And so you get to a point where you wait too long and the coating, the base layer is too hardened. And now it's going to start to reject any other things because everything it sees after a certain time interval is going to be seen as foreign to that coating and it's going to begin to reject it. So generally our coatings are going to be up to 12 hours for a recoat window. Most of them are going to fall within a 1 to 12 hour recoat window. And so what that means is you do a lap with a crystal serum light. Naturally, it's going to take you about an hour to do the coating, right? So you can do 2 laps, right? One after another. Or what we've found is you can wait up to 12 hours and have negligible difference in between those coats. So I could do this tonight at 8 p.m., come back 8 a.m. tomorrow and do that EXO application on top of the CSL that I did prior. And there's negligible difference between just doing 2 laps. So you want to kind of make sure the coating is solidified enough that you're not removing it or the durability of the coating by introducing more solvents from another coating that's supposed to be a top coat. But you don't want to go so hard, so long with the coating on hardness because then it's going to begin to reject it. So there's a sweet spot there, and that's where we have that range for 1 to 12 hours. And so generally that's going to be kind of the range that you want to stick with the product line. Now, there's one other coating, the C1 crystal lacquer, because that's reacting less so with humidity, more so just with oxygen because it's just quartz-based, not a whole lot of siloxanes going on in there, maybe some. You want to wait a little bit longer for that coating to harden because it's just going to take a little bit more time because there's less variables that are kind of allowing that hardening to happen. So that recoat window to top C1 with EXO is 4 to 12 hours. So 1 to 12, 4 to 12, generally you're going to want to be within that window. Check the box, it's going to tell you when to recoat.
The EXO, you talked about that's your flexible one, correct? So that was one of the other problems I have. So I have one car that I had ceramic coated, and I have another one that has a spray-on wrap on it.
Okay.
That has a shelf life of about 5 years. I mean, it'll hold up longer than
Is
that.
it Plasti Dip or Dip Your Car?
Autoflex.
Autoflex. Gotcha.
So dipyourcar.com.
Autoflex is a 2K wrap.
Yeah.
So that's really resilient. You could go with something like Crystal Serum Light on it and you wouldn't have an issue.
Well, see, that's why I was looking for something I could put on myself. So now I've spent $4,000 on this wrap, right?
Yeah.
Now you want me to spend another $2,000 on this, and then I got to do that again in 5 years. Like that's a lot. That's $6,000. That's a lot to chew on, right? That's $1,000 a year.
Yeah.
So if I am able to do this myself, I can help with that cost, but I also could use something like the EXO and put it on a product like that, right?
Yep.
And then I don't feel so bad. Now I've invested $100 or whatever you're saying.
Yeah.
And when I peel the wrap off, I don't have to feel bad about that I did that.
Yeah. Hey, before you leave today, if you want to practice on someone else's car, mine's all open. I can probably fix it.
Okay.
Hopefully I can fix it if
I'm
it is
pretty
messed up. But
confident, and after watching you, I'm
it's
like,
not
all right,
hard.
cool.
It's
yeah,
not hard.
right?
And
I was
so-
like, he can do it. I ain't doing it.
you should have brought the car here. I would have done it for you. So the Autoflex, because it's still technically a wrap, it's still technically a vinyl peelable film. I'm actually going to recommend going with Halo on that. And so Halos are
Okay.
flexible film coatings.
Okay, Halo, that's the one that was.
Halo is
okay.
essentially Exo's kind of little brother. It's a little bit of a lighter coating. The carriers in it are a little bit kind of higher. So that's going to allow it to work with flexible films better. Flexible films is the AutoFlex is self-healing, is it not? If you put minor defects into it, I think it heals in the sun. I'm pretty sure it does. If you put really,
I'll
really
key it when I
minor.
get home.
Yeah, keying's not a minor defect. Don't try that.
Be like, hey, Carson said it should.
He wants to dissolve the podcast to ASAP, man. Let's try keying it. But yeah, so even though it's a flexible film and it's 2K and you can technically go with a higher solids coating, I'd probably still go with Halo because it's so dang easy to do. Do it every 2 years and you're good to go. Or just do the Halo and maintain the hell out of it with C2.
Yeah,
and you can extend that interval to maybe 3.5, 4 years.
That's kind of the camp I fall into because, like I said, I still like to spray it and wipe it down when I'm done washing it. And it's not, like you said, it's not hard to put on.
No, it's so easy, man. I mean, you need shade. If you've got shade, you can do it. Even the people that don't have garages, if they want to use one of these products up there and they have flexible film, I say Halo. If you have paint, go with Exo. Go to a parking garage and go on the interior wall of a parking garage. You know, bring some kind of quick detailer with you. If you get any dust, wipe it off and then panel wipe and then install the coating in the parking garage. Take an hour. And if it's sunny outside, you're supposed to let it cure inside for 12 hours. But if it's sunny outside and you're not going to worry about rain, you can drive it home and it's no big deal. If you get some bugs on the front bumper, take some quick detailer and wipe it off when you get home. And you're good to go. You don't have to have a garage. So those are the two most playful coatings. They're the most versatile coatings as far as ease of installation and lowest risk of having issues with it.
So
now, well, hold on a second. Now I want to do my wheels, right? It's a track car.
Gotcha.
GT500, big brakes, track brakes, dust is horrible. Can I use the crystal serum? Is that going to help? Can I hit my... We have a designated coating for that, and that's going to be on the far right called C5. C5 is our wheel armor.
And see the wheel word right there?
Right. Small enough font. So as far as what that coating is and the difference between kind of the numbered coatings, so C1, C4, C5 versus all the fancy box coatings, the numbered coatings are more versatile because they're just quartz based, so they're just focused on protection. With that said, you're still going to get great water repellency. It's still going to absolutely destroy any wax or sealant. It just might not be as good as Exo, but it's pretty close. The reason why you don't want to go with a lower solids, more repellent coating on your wheels there is because it's just not going to last that long. Those wheels probably get pretty hot. The brake dust is acidic. You don't want to have to kind of reapply the coating every 6 months on it, right? You want to do it and forget it. Wheels suck to do, so you want to do it every 2 years and forget about it. The C5 is resistant up to around 1200 degrees Fahrenheit. So about twice as temperature resistant as all the other coatings.
He doesn't drive fast enough for that heat.
So maybe you're fine with the other coatings. You can go with the other coatings, but the nice thing with the C5 is you don't need to worry about it. It's going to work on any types of wheels, whether it's powder coated, whether it's clear coated, even if it's satin, matte, gloss, throw some on your brake calipers, you're good to go. Any powder coated high temperature engine components, throw on the C5. And forget about it for 2 years. Maintain it with the C2. C2 works on glass, it works on paint, it works on texture black plastics. It works on pretty much everything. I mean, I use it on my door jams and it almost looks like I have it coated. I just rinse them out and they're good to go. And it's super easy to do. And that's the nice thing with it. You go with all these different coatings and then you maintain it with all the same stuff. You don't need a whole different subset of maintenance sprays and toppers for the coating on your wheels versus the coating on your glass or your paint or plastics.
But it would help me. I would almost be able to spray off brake dust and or do a light wipe or whatever. I wouldn't necessarily have to whip out because I have like an acid that you would normally use to kind of clean
so that's the cool thing is once you've got a coating on there, we don't even recommend using acids at all because they're just so harsh. Are they going to remove the coating? Probably not. Our coatings are resistant from pH 2 to 14, which covers darn near the whole range.
I was about to say.
But you want to be gentle with it when you can because acids are just going to degrade your paint finish over time. They pull out problems and they start to oxidize the finish over time, whether you have a coating or not. So go with something more gentle. So we have an iron and fallout remover called W6. It's good on paint. It's good on wheels. It's going to be kind of that classic cleaner that turns purple as it works. And what that is, that ingredient in those products that turns purple is called sodium thioglycolate. It's derived from sulfur, which is why they all smell like rotten eggs, ours included. Ours is a much higher concentration of the thioglycolate, so it works really effectively. If you have your wheels coated with a wheel armor and you want them 100% clean, you probably still want to agitate them. If you want them 90% of the way and you want it to look like almost perfect, unless you're like right up next to it, spray some W6 on there, let it turn purple, rinse the wheel off, and you're good to go. Really, you don't need to go crazy with it. So it's taking that cleaning that you need to do every couple weeks or maybe every week, because the iron ferrous fallout is just immediate as soon as you hit the brakes on that car. You know, it takes something where you need to get on your hands and knees and agitate all the time versus every couple times. You know, you can get so close to perfect if you have a coating on there without having to go crazy with acidic products or alkaline products or anything like that.
Okay.
All right, cool. My car's covered then. I'm good. I know exactly what I need to order.
He's got the wheels. He's good, dude.
Yeah, well, Dan came out hot on this episode. I'm like, oh, Dan's shopping.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I've been looking because I didn't want to pay to do a ceramic coat on a wrap that's technically temporary. It's not a 10-year PPF.
Right. And that's the nice thing. You can extend it, right? If it's a 5-year wrap and you're reapplying Halo every couple years, you're probably going to get 6, 7, 8 years out of it. Can I vouch for that? No, we don't guarantee the flexible film coating because it's a lighter coating and you need to do more maintenance with any flexible films. And as soon as you start to guarantee stuff that needs more maintenance, people are just not going to do the maintenance and start to claim everything.
Which is a difficult thing as a business too. Yeah. And again, I know this is not corporate, over in England or whatever, but like that's the difficult thing, right? If you tell people the truth, they're not inclined to buy, right? So they need to be sold a lie or marketed to or whatever, however you want to phrase it.
Or you got to make that fine print and put it in there somewhere, which...
That's what we get. That's how we get them.
Just make it super
We
super
told
small.
you, look right here. No, look.
Well, and that's the nice thing when you're a company like Gtechniq and you're around for the long run and not just for a quick buck. The people that went with some other company that sold them on the wrong stuff 5 years ago and they had a bad experience, then they start to realize, oh, I learned the hard way. I'm going to go to Gtechniq now. We've had that so often. I mean, even installers. So many of our installers have gone with alternate brands where they've been sold on all these empty promises and they realize that they are just that,
I've
empty
heard that
promises.
too. Yeah.
And now they're all coming to Gtechniq, right? And so it's funny to see that happen from all the way to consumers that are buying products just off your supermarket shelf, all the way to professionals that have been in the industry for 15, 20 years, right? I mean, we all are missold on stuff. Marketing works. So we
not
don't
for me. I got a box full of shirts that says otherwise. Jesus.
Maybe not for some of us, right?
This guy didn't go to school for marketing and don't work out. Okay. You tripped me up. I forgot what my question was going to be earlier.
Sorry.
It was the best question ever.
Hey, you know what? You said you didn't go to school for marketing, but you did for warehouse management, right?
Fair enough.
You're very good at keeping your inventory.
That's cold.
That's
just dirty. Okay. So then what's next on the horizon for you guys? Is there anything coming up in the next year or two? Like, is this, again, we talked earlier about some things like your C1. It's basically unchanged over the last, 2 decades at this point?
Yeah.
Is there, how good can a car look? Is there stuff developing in this industry? Like, are we going to see a 30-year warranty soon? Like, what's going on?
It's hard to know. And it's not that chemistry is changing. It's that our knowledge of it is changing.
Ooh, okay.
And so that's really what we're looking at. It's so hard to ballpark that because you never know what you're going to stumble on, right? I mean, the new EXO, so we had our previous version, EXO version 4, a couple years ago, maybe 2-3 years ago, was recently available. The version 4 was like the best of the best as far as slickness and gloss was at the time of that coating. EXO version 5 destroys it on every single mark. The version 4 was a 2-layer coating system. It was quartz-based. It was not as high-tech. The newer stuff, the water contact angle is 115 degrees. What that means is basically what's the degree at which it kind of basically just rolls right off the panel. It's extremely high. That's a bigger number is better. And so it's an insane coating that we never thought would be possible a couple of years ago. Maybe took us 40 tries, 50 tries to get it right, but we got it right. Now it's a single layer product that's butter to apply, and it's extremely slick. And I'll take some water so you can see, because everyone wants to see.
Yeah.
So we will do that, but
We'll talk about that your Amazon product you're talking about is they throw a bucket of mud on it. Was their big thing, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yep. But really, I mean, that's what we don't know. You know, you don't know what you don't know. And so that's one of my favorite sayings when a lot of people call me and ask, like, what's on the horizon? We don't know. Are we working on probably 20 products at one time? Yes. Are there a lot that are about to be released probably sometime within the next year or two? Probably.
Okay.
Some of them are really awesome. What we're really focused on right now is capturing markets that are less kind of popular. So, all right, we've got awesome paint. We know what to do with it. What if it's more compromised? What if it's a different
Sentra.
type of substrate, right? What if it's that Sentra back there that basically has no paint on it? What do we do? So right now we're trying to kind of work on maintenance as well. So how can we make maintenance even easier and quicker, and for people that have less kind of environment available, right? Let's say you don't even have like a driveway where you have all the luxuries of all this kind of stuff. What products do we use then? Can we just have one product that's like to go in the trunk? That's what we're working on now. We're working on some other outdoor products that are far easier to use. I mean, you can mess everything up with some of these products and it's still going to work well, and you're still going to get good durability of it. That was unheard of as of a couple years ago, and it was a code that we never thought we would crack. So I hate to leave you on this kind of, you never know, but we don't know. I mean, even we manufacture the products in-house. We formulate them in-house. So in the United Kingdom, we have a team of 3 chemists that are actually developing these products physically. And the team lead there is going to be Lee Kennedy, and he's our senior formulation chemist. Lee is an absolute plethora of knowledge. I'm also pretty sure he does some type of jujitsu, so I'm a little bit scared of him. But aside from that, if we move that aside, he's excellent with the way that we kind of develop these products, and he's always thinking outside the box. And the nice thing with us as a brand, and it can't be said for everyone, if we personally aren't happy with the products, we wouldn't use it on our own cars. We know it's just going to be a quick buck sale and be done. Mm-hmm. We're not releasing it. I mean, some of these products are years and years of development and so much money poured into it. We might never get it back, but that's the risk of doing business as kind of a company that's trying to innovate the products.
Right. Why invest in all of something like this and the training and the videos and all that if really otherwise you just want a warehouse, pump out as much as you can and then shut the door and move on to the next one.
Well, that's up the street, remember?
Yeah.
Well, but we're seeing that so much now. I mean, the market is so ridiculously saturated. Everyone and their mother has a detailing line now, and
I was gonna say, what are your thoughts on all the white
private
label
labeled,
stuff?
man. It's private labeled. If you go back, if you call the company and you ask them what's going on with the products and they can't answer it, they're not making it. They're not formulating it. They're not blending it. They're not doing any of that. And so some of these companies that aren't making their own products at least have enough money that they can go back to the blender and say, hey, I would like to custom formulate this. You have this tire dressing that you sell. Let's call it tire dressing 88. That's what some of these companies do. They'll 88, 89, 90. You get a bunch of samples and pick which one you like. I like tire dressing 88, but I want it to smell like bananas and I want it to have some graphene in it. They'll throw some graphene, which is basically just graphite. They're throwing some pencil lead in there to make it look dark. And then they're throwing some kind of long-term siloxanes or some long-term silicones that are amino-functional, and they're throwing it on there, and it's gonna last a little bit longer. And it's a truly good product, and it's their product, but it's really kind of limited as far as what you can do. It's really just how much is the money talking and how much lab time can you pay this third-party blender? Because at the end of the day, they have a margin that they need to hit. If they don't hit that margin, they're not making the product for you. So that's what it comes down to. The cool thing with having this all in-house, we can mess up a million times and still go back to the drawing board with a product, and we're not going to kind of lose it on it. And we don't have to put it on the market, right? A lot of these other companies will sell, so many similar versions of one product, and they're just diluting it and kind of diluting the brand overall. But immediately the sales department's going to get a hit because, well, now there's 13 car soaps instead of 12. So this guy that has the other 12 is definitely going to buy the 13th, even though it probably doesn't need to exist. We probably don't need a specific soap for an off-road vehicle versus a general vehicle.
Okay.
We probably don't.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, you touched on graphene there. So what is the whole? I don't even know how to ask this question because I'm not entirely well versed on it, I guess. But so I started seeing a bunch of graphene products in the last few years.
Yeah.
What are those all about? Is there any benefit to that?
To be honest with you, there's mixed research on it.
Okay.
The deal with graphene is, in order for it to be a true graphene and not just be basically a micronized graphite, basically a pencil lead powder, something that darkens your mixture, it's really expensive and it's really, really hard to get it. And pretty much nobody out there is doing it right now. So all of the graphene stuff that you're seeing, I mean, I've tried some graphene. I come back to the tire dressing because it's hilarious. Let's throw graphene in a tire dressing, right? That makes no sense. There's so many products like that. There's graphene coatings and all this stuff. It's not that it will never get there, and it's not that it probably can't be done. It's that to do it, it's so expensive that if your product is anywhere near affordable, you're probably not getting a true graphene product. And I have yet to find a single graphene product that I've tested, and it's been a lot of products, that has actually done better than a standard ceramic or existing kind of technology counterpart.
Is that basically the claim, that it's better than ceramic?
It's the claim. And so here's where we get into a problem with it is there's people, like there are graphene products that are excellent out there. They're not excellent because of the graphene or graphite that's in it. They're excellent because there's other things going on in the product. And people are just generally attributing that excellence to the graphene ingredient or the graphite ingredient rather than just the base formulation.
The
being
surface
a good formulation.
characteristics.
Yeah. So that's really what it comes down to. Like there's graphene coatings out there that will last several years and they're great coatings. They're not great coatings because of the graphite or the graphene that's in there. I don't know if it's graphene or graphite, but it's probably graphite. Most of the products out there are going to be graphite. In fact, everyone that we've tested is just graphite, which is pencil lead. So not sure what you're doing there, but
we use it on the Pinewood Derby cars to make them. Yeah.
Okay. So it's not that it's not going to work. And there's a lot of graphene products that they are marketing that are acceptable and good products. But my kind of point that I'm trying to drive home here is they're not excellent because of that ingredient being in there, or because of that claim. They're good because the base formulation of the product without that ingredient is still a good product.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So
just looking at like the protection from what exactly in that instance?
So it's basically a product like this with a little splash of that in it so they can call it that.
Yeah. So like let's take, here's a perfect example, and a lot of companies have done this in the past. Let's take EXO version 4 versus version 5, which is up there. A huge difference in the product, right?
Sure.
So much better the version 5. A lot of companies out there, what they'll do is they'll formulate a new version of a pre-existing product that beats it, like EXO. Like let's say we have version 4 and version 5. If prior to releasing the version 5, we were to say EXO graphene, and it were to have the graphene in there, and it were to be that dark color and whatever, it could be the same performance as the version 5 before adding it. But if we release that to the market with the graphene claim on it, people are going to attribute, wow, look how much better this new version is of EXO because of the graphene in it. They're attributing causation to an ingredient that's probably not doing anything in the formulation. Now, there is real graphene out there, and it probably will eventually be beneficial. But right now, the cost is so high, the formulation with it is so complicated and whatnot. We just, again, chemistry is not changing, but our knowledge of it needs to get to a point where graphene becomes advantageous. If you look at the true, actual, like raw data behind graphene, it appears to be a beneficial ingredient that could almost do better than ceramic. But for right now,
we're just not there yet.
And you know, in the future, if I had to give an educated guess, I think there's a kind of tandem between graphene and ceramic where you would combine both for different types of characteristics. Like we've seen ceramic coatings generally do a little bit better with hydrophobics, whereas graphene does a little bit better with oleophobics. Oleophobics is kind of oily, rejecting oils and things like that. And the hydrophobics is more kind of water. But at the same time, with the amount of knowledge we've gained on graphene in the past few years of that buzzword kind of coming out, we've actually just done better with getting better siloxanes, which are something like an EXO, which is what we've done with the version 5 in comparison to the version 4. More siloxanes in there, and the siloxanes now, the different types of siloxanes we can put in there, now that's a hydrophobic and an oleophobic coating, right? And we didn't have to rely on graphene for it. So graphene is advancing, but is it advancing as fast as our knowledge of the siloxanes and ceramics? Probably not.
So here's another thing that I've been seeing marketed lately. And by lately, I mean probably a couple years ago I saw this, or last year.
Oh, the other day.
The other day. Interior coatings. What is your thought on that? Do you guys do anything like that?
Yeah, we
or-
manufacture a
okay.
whole bunch. They're not ceramic coatings, right?
Okay.
For it to be a
I've
true...
seen ceramic coating for
Yeah,
interior,
yeah. And for it to be a true ceramic, you're going to need something that's solvent-based, and companies do sell them. They're just a little aggressive for an interior, right? I mean, the thing is they harden up too much because they're solvent-based, and they can make your leather almost feel a little bit stiffer, and your kind of your seats are squeaky now when you get in, and some of them add shine, and they just make it, they're not invisible, right? You can tell that they're on there. Our products, the majority of them are water-based, other than our fabric protectant, which is an alcohol base. All of them are going to have that water base, but they have different types of protectants in there, plasticized protectants, and they're designed to give invisible protection. Are they going to last maybe as long as some of the claims of other companies that are giving you a solvent-based product? Probably not. But honestly, you don't want that on your interior. You want something that is able to be reapplied easily, and something that's not going to change the integrity of that finish over time. And over time is not going to make it more brittle. And so that's what our coatings do. And they're all invisible on the interior. You cannot detect any of them. We have a L1, which is our leather protectant. It's going to work awesome on any of those seats, even if it's vegan leather, or Mercedes has their new plasticized leather called MB Tex. It's going to work on all that, the Tesla seats, everything like that. It's designed for abrasion resistance, and it's going to give you some UV resistance and some gene dye transfer resistance and everything like that. It makes it much easier to clean. So, half the time we can even just grab a quick detailer. And I know it's an exterior product, but spray a little bit on there, kind of clean off that seat really quick. And you're 90% there to a full detail, because you've protected that seat, and that stain or whatever's happening, that abrasion is sitting on top of that coating. It's designed to wear. And so a lot of the other coatings out there are designed to not really wear, and it's just setting your interior up for kind of a different experience.
Okay.
To kind of keep it like that. I've seen some of these coatings almost crack dashboards because it's such a hard layer, and then it can't allow the natural flexing to happen when you park your car in the sun versus
I was about
in
to
the
say,
winter.
especially down here, like that's all you see when you come in Texas, like all the time, like
cracked dashboards. Yeah. Everyone and their mother has a cracked dashboard.
Yeah.
It's probably the GM, Chevys and stuff like that.
No,
GM's not
actually,
awesome
so we
for
actually
that.
had Calvin Motorsports on in episode 130 or whatever. He was like, yeah, I got like a new, what was it, Cayenne or something like that? Like newer Cayenne dashboards cracking. I think one of his, or a Ferrari or whatever of his buddies. Like it's just like, just across the board. Like those, and that's the other thing.
Those are the worst too, because you got to take out the whole dash. It's like, I'm just going to sell the car.
Well, I give so much credit to like the guys behind the scenes that do the development and engineering and the chemistry and whatever, because you are designing this for the harshest environments. Like we got into our rental car on the way over here, and it was like 107 degrees inside. And it's like, that's going to wear and tear on product, right? So like the fact that you are able to offer some degree of warranty is kind of impressive too.
Yeah. And so the nice thing with it too is there's clear maintenance to it. Where these other products kind of say, all right, we got a year coating or whatever, it's going to last for however many years on your leather. You can maintain it with cleaners and whatnot, but we don't really know exactly like, all right, how is this actually going to wear into that seat? And each leather is a little bit different. And to be honest with you, on most modern interiors, this entire interior has clear coat on it. The seats are clear coated. Everything's clear coated on almost every modern interior. And so really, you're not protecting the leather or any of that anymore. You're protecting that clear coat on top. That's why it becomes more similar to your exterior as far as the way that the protectant is kind of applied and things like that. Totally different ingredients in the products. And so a really common ingredient to have in any of those interior coatings and whatnot, especially your fabric and kind of convertible top protectants, is going to be a fluorocarbon kind of PFAA. So think Forever Chemicals. So like those Teflon pans, anything like that, super non-stick, awesome, but really flexible, good for crazy heat changes. It's awesome for everything but your health.
I was about to say,
don't put it in your mouth.
Detrimental to your health.
Yeah.
We're one of the only companies that manufactures all of our interior coatings free of PFAA. So you don't need to worry about any of that. They're completely safe for skin contact. And every single one of our interior cleaners and protectants is going to have BioCoat in there. And so that was actually our biggest seller during COVID. The cool thing with BioCoat is it kills 99.9% of bacteria, But we also have slow release agents in that biocoat. So some of our protectants, like our smart fabric, will continue to kill both macro and micro bacteria and organisms on that surface. If it's a convertible top, up to 2 years, interior up to 1 year. I know it sounds weird that the interior is lower longevity. It's because you have more foot traffic and whatnot.
Yep.
But it continues killing bacteria throughout the life of the product. So if you have a mess up with your diet and you get a 40 count nugget from McDonald's, unfortunately did that a few days ago, not feeling good about that. But if that happens to you, the odors generally are going to stick around a little bit less. The interior stays cleaner for longer. It's easier to maintain because you have that layer of protection on there. And you're not going to have this sign of the coating wearing off or anything like that, because it is a thin coating and it's meant to be reapplied maybe once a year, every 2 years if you're going with a convertible top or something like that. So that's the goal behind the product. And also they're so easy. I mean, you wipe it on, you wipe it off, and you walk away. That's it. It's so cake.
Wax on, wax off.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
I'm sure that
Mr.
joke's
Miyagi
been done
style,
a million
right?
times
Yeah,
in
right.
here.
Yeah, I mean, actually not super often, so you'd be surprised.
Okay.
But, yeah, the most common one we get is people driving by and I park outside and the guy's got his windows down. He's like, mine next. I'm like, yeah, man, you're paying, dude.
Yeah.
You're paying. It's 5 p.m. on a Friday. You're paying.
Yeah.
Brother, I used to work at a casino hotel, like checking people into the hotel, right? When I was in college or whatever it was. And I'd be like, you need anything else? I'd be like, $1 million, or like, the winning,
Yeah, right.
the winning numbers. I'm like, bro, get out my face.
Right.
I ain't dealing with this.
So original. Good one, buddy.
So
Yeah.
rich.
That's the first time I heard it this hour.
Yep, we get it a lot. That's
Yeah.
that's the most popular one we get.
Yeah, it's always that one neighbor.
So we've talked about everything up there but smart glass. What's
Yeah.
smart glass?
So smart glass is a chemically bonding glass coating. So we make 2 different types of glass protectants at Gtechniq. We make a coating called G5. It's kind of a little bit more Rain-X style as far as the longevity of protection, but it's going to beat Rain-X. It's not going to be all hazy and layery when you use your wipers and whatnot. It's going to last around 4 months. It's a wax-on kind of Mr. Miyagi style application. So it's water-based. You put some onto an applicator, apply it in a circular motion, wait 15 minutes and just wipe it off and you got 4 months of durability. The G1 is a much more involved application, but it's so much more rewarding. So that product, that's the 100 milliliter kit. So it's a couple ounces. That'll do 5 to 7 full vehicles of glass. It's extremely repellent, number one, but number two, it's gonna last around 20,000 miles. And actually I've had it on my car for about 28 and it's still on there. And when I was living in college, this did not see any garages or anything like that. I destroyed the car here in college. So I'm glad that you guys weren't here to see it when I brought it back. It was gross. But as far as the way that works, you do 3 coats on your windshield, 5 minutes apart.
Okay.
1 coat on your side glass on that 3rd coat. So 3rd coat on the windshield, do your side glass as well. Wait 15 minutes, and then we have another bottle in there called residue remover. You use that with a towel, and you're just going to wipe off the excess, and now you've got 20,000 miles of durability. And it truly stands the test of time. I tried steel wool with it, and it barely kind of scuffs the coating. It's pretty incredible.
Okay.
So
okay, I'm actually curious about that stuff because, like, for example, my last car, I got it courtesy of Citywide. I gotta give them a shout out. They're my boys, but
They use your products, by the way.
oh, nice.
yeah, but they
That's
used
good.
Halo on like my hood, or they just wanted to like demonstrate a few things to me, right?
Yeah.
And I'm curious. So why not put something like, let's say Halo? I think it was Halo on a windshield compared to like smart glass.
Yeah. It's not that you can't do it.
Okay.
I mean, you can take Halo and you're going to get really good water repellency
Sure.
and slickness. It's just not, it's not the substrate that it's designed for. So something like Halo, the way that we have designed, what types of solvent are in there, what's the ratio of solvent to carrier oils to silicates, and what's going on in the product and how is it blended? All of that is designed for very porous, flexible films, which are really flexible. I mean, a flexible film is designed to expand and contract like crazy. It's designed to wrap into these seams and everything like that. I'm sure you've seen these videos where the guys are like flexing the heck out of a paint protection film or something, and
Sure.
it just comes right back after they hit it with a heat gun. Glass couldn't be further from that, right?
Right.
Glass is rock solid. The least porous thing on this car is the glass. It's not that it can't bond to it. It's just, it's going to have a much harder time. And you're probably wasting product because the solvent concentration is just too low and the carriers are too high. It's going to be smeary on it. You want something that's extremely high solids for glass. And so that's what's happening with the G1.
Okay.
Now, the residue remover included in that G1 smart glass box there, That's designed to be safe for glass. If I were to use it on these really soft pillars right here to remove that glass coating, the excess of it, I would probably have some problems. It would probably scratch it because it would soften it so much. It would just be a pain to install. It could stain it. It's just a mess. So stick to the design coating for that specific surface. It really, the products are completely different. So
and also be very careful then as you're doing the remover.
You want to be decently careful. It's not like if you touch the paint with it, you're just going to vaporize it.
Right.
I'm just saying, don't go out of your way to install it. The chances you're going to have an issue are really, really slim. But why do it if you can get away with not having to? So it's really that smart glass is probably the strongest solvent product out there. In fact, it's the only one up there that we can't ship to California. Aside from the panel wipe, but California's got some interesting laws. So I don't know if that's our fault or theirs, but I'm going to leave it to the viewer's discretion for that one. So
only you can prevent.
Yeah.
Anyways, okay, I kind of have like a two-part question here. First of all, are all of these available direct to consumer, or some are just to shops?
They're all. The only product that we manufacture that is not available to the consumer is the Crystal Serum Ultra and any marketing collateral that promotes Crystal Serum Ultra. Other than that, it's all free reign. Any of the wholesalers have it. Gtechniq.com has it. Amazon has a lot of the more popular ones. Order from us. And
well, direct is always better.
Direct is always better. We also have 2-day shipping, generally maybe 3 if you're way out west.
Sure.
Yeah. So most of them are available. The only ones that aren't are the marketing and whatever with the 9-year code.
Okay.
And that's really, a lot of people complain about it. I promise it's to protect you. Because if someone doesn't know what they're doing and they get the Ultra, it's really hard to reverse a high spot across a whole panel with it. And the other coatings are not that way. So that's for protection of the customer. Somewhat liability, but also a lot of it so that we just don't have our phones blowing up with people that hate our product because they misinstalled it. So it's for the protection of both of us. It's a two-way street, that one. So
okay. So then, to kind of jump off of that then, because I feel like, and this might be more of a personal thing for me, it's like partially because of laziness, but also like I'd rather take my car to a shop to go get ceramic coated. Like I know these guys have been doing it for a long time, but there's a lot of people that are DIYers. They sit next to me sometimes. I guess if Dan wanted to do this himself, right? What's the cheapest way to do it, and what's the cheapest best way to do it? Yeah. Because there's 2 different ways to do it. And obviously you have a range of products here that are various number of costs, but
the cheapest, best way to do it would be to come to one of our training classes. Okay. Because they're hundreds of dollars compared to the thousands, and we cover everything, and you'll know what's going on with it. Are you going to be as skilled behind a polisher as one of our techs that has been doing it for 10 years? Probably not. Is there going to be more limitation to the defects you can remove and the gloss that you can really hit even before installing the coating? Probably. But that's the cheapest, best way to DIY it, is to actually take a class here, do the in-person training, and that's going to help you so much, and it's much cheaper.
Let's say we have our Georgia demographic, which is less than 5%. Let's say it's somebody across the nation, right, and is maybe looking at going to gtechniq.com.
Yeah. And so for the cheapest way to do it, man, YouTube's so helpful. Okay. I mean, there's so many guys out there. Matt Mormon with Obsessed Garage, he's built basically an empire with the kind of detailing supplies and whatever he sources. He likes a lot of products out there, and he loves switching around and things like that. 2 products he has not moved away from is Crystal Serum Light and Exo, because he's just such a huge fan of them. Okay. He puts them on everything, which maybe we don't advise, but it does work. It's just not going to work as well as the design coating for the surface like we talked about. But watch some videos, call Gtechniq. We are not charging for these phone calls. You can call me directly. Type in Gtechniq to Google, call Tammy, say, I'd like to talk to Carson, and give me a call. I'm happy to chat with you.
You're going to regret that request.
It's fine. It's fine. It's my job. It's what I'm here for.
You have a collect call from.
I want to wake up to 78 voicemails tomorrow morning. Just like, all right, I quit.
Both of our listeners are going to call you now.
But the one thing that happens the most is people call and they have no experience whatsoever, and they haven't even tried Googling it or reading the forums or watching YouTube, or even on our website. We have something called a wash guide on gtechniq.com. Go to gtechniq.com. On the top right, there's a search icon. Type in wash guide. There is a 2-page brochure on how to do a decontamination wash to your vehicle. That's page 1. Page 2 is how to do a quick wash for your less dirty vehicle. That's your maintenance wash. It's step by step. If you want to buy it, you can buy a physical pamphlet and we'll send it to you. It's a free PDF to download.
Sure.
That's going to help you so much. Do that. Look up CSL, look up EXO, look up Halo G1 on YouTube. We've been around long enough. There's a lot of videos. We have a lot of our own videos. And follow those instructions. Follow the instructions in the box. You're gonna nail it. It's very, very simple. And on the website, under each product, we have an application information section. If the product is complicated enough, we're gonna attach a video to it from Gtechniq so that you can see how it's applied. Sure. But there's also step-by-step application instructions. You can decide if it's too much for you before you buy the product. So that's super, super helpful. The information's out there, man. It's just how much homework are you gonna do?
Right.
Right. And so you can, and back to what I said earlier when we first started talking was you can make it complicated and you can't. You can get into polishing with a rotary versus a forced rotation machine versus dual action, measuring the heat, using water to help your cut with compounding, diminishing abrasives versus super micro abrasives. You can go crazy with polishing. You can go crazy with prep. You can go crazy with the way that you're installing the coatings. You don't need to. You just don't. I mean, there's a limit to, again, law of diminishing return. You can get 80% of the result doing it at home if you are kind of an educated DIY kind of enthusiast person. If you're not handy at all, I probably wouldn't go with one of these coatings to start. Maybe try the C2 and then kind of graduate from that.
Sure.
But there's levels to the game, and you don't have to be at the top level to get amazing performance and durability. So call us, go on YouTube, use Google, and just know, even though our coatings are chemically different than a lot out there, the prep for a lot of these coatings is very, very similar. And so there's rarely a one-stop shop for everything that you need to coat your car. And so we do pretty much have a one-stop shop as far as the products that we have over in the wash bay back there. The wash products, they're designed to help decon a car, but they're also designed to help maintain your coating. All of them are coating safe, and all of them can help prepare you for coating. Go to a polishing company. We generally recommend Mirka or Rupes. Mirka is M-I-R-K-A and Rupes is R-U-P-E-S. Both great manufacturers. One's German, one's Italian. A lot of them have HQs in the US as well. And for polishing, give them a call. They have people like me that are happy to talk to you about the products. We care about the products. I do this as my job. I'm not just your technical assistant that's sitting behind the computer acting like I know what the heck's going on. I do this day in and day out.
You breathe in those solvents all day.
Oh, I'm breathing in the solvents, man. I'm breathing in the solvents. One time I had to pull over at the Ace Hardware. I made it one left turn out of here. I was like, I'm going to pull over. Had to take a breather. Wear gloves with the products. Wear gloves. Aside from that, though, it's really not a huge concern. I mean, if you're drinking alcohol, whatever you're breathing in from this is much less than that. So don't worry about it, but do wear gloves. You don't want it getting on your hands or anything like that. But yeah, as far as it goes, there's tons of information out there. So use your sources. There's a bunch.
Well, sweet, man. Should we start? Should we hit the usual 3? What are you thinking?
Oh, you have another question, bro, and I see it. Those gears,
I
you
do
smoke
just
out
on
the
that
ears.
one application thing, but I'll ask that afterwards. It doesn't matter. That's just a dumb me question.
Okay. It's okay.
So,
Well, sweet.
Yeah. So we're ready?
Sure.
All right. So at the end of every episode, we like to ask our guests to pick 3 cars. I need a daily driver, a track car, and a show car. You have an unlimited budget. You can build whatever you want. What are you picking?
Daily driver, I'm going GTI, man. I mean, it's right behind us. So I have to go GTI because I want something that I'm not too worried about, right? Mm-hmm. It's something that I can get in, I can drive, I can throw a bike in the back if I want to go cycling or anything like that, and I'm good. And I get like 36 miles a gallon on the highway, dude. I can choose if I want to throw in 87 in this thing. I hope no one gets mad at me for that. I do put in 93. But I get in, I drive, it's reliable, it's got CarPlay. I'm good to go.
And buttons, unlike me.
Yeah, right. Track car, that's a tough one. Any budget?
Anything.
I'm going to be respectable here. I'm going to go a newer 911 Carrera T. I know it's not the fastest. I know I could have picked like a GT3, GT2, whatever. But I also want to be able to drive it to the track and have a really good time. And I want to be decently comfy. And the manual on that's just sick. And the walnut shift knob on that, come on, get out of here.
Didn't one just sell for 700 or something?
No,
something crazy.
No way. They're like 120. That's got to be some crazy.
I might be thinking of something else.
I don't know. It could be Porsche put in a Bose sound system and added $40,000 to the price. I know how they are on options. You start with a $100,000 car and you're at 300 grand. You're like, I clicked like painted air vents, man. Like I don't know what's going on.
It might have been the ST or something like that.
Okay, I could see that. I could see that. The last one was what? A show car?
Yeah,
Show car.
Oh shoot.
Nissan Sentra, whatever.
No. I'd go to my grave without choosing that option. That's a tough one. As far as show cars go, I don't know. This is a tough decision for me.
Yeah, you've only seen so many awesome cars.
Yeah.
I'm going to get hate for this, but I'm going to Chevy Chevelle.
I did not see that one coming. Okay.
Because you can restore it, you do some sick paintwork to it, and it just looks mint.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Do
I'm
like a
huge
pro
fan.
touring build on it or something?
Yeah. Have you ever seen those the Impala, like minted out Impalas as show cars?
Yeah.
They're insane. These guys take like a $10,000 cop car and they throw like 300 grand in it. It's the coolest looking thing ever. That would be cool too. And if you want to play it like Sopranos, you could fit a few bodies in the back if you needed to. So
absolutely.
Practical show car. I'm a practical type of person, so all those were practical decisions. But yeah, I might be the only person on the face of the planet that chose a Chevelle. That's approachable for any budget. Come on.
We've had some cool ones. We just had this, I remember Ratified on episode 34 when he was like, yeah, I'll just take EG hatch, something like that, some Civic.
Hatch, that's awesome.
So just some Civic back then. He's like, I just wanted red, clean, mint or whatever. Any truck. Just any
truck.
No, we thought we have a lot of race car guys on the show, and it's like that's all they care. It's like, all right, any 2500 that works.
That's awesome.
Probably pre 2020,
that's
whatever.
Really cool.
But yeah, I just like how I had a Seinfeld moment. What is the deal with?
I would throw in like an older Datsun. I like the older Datsuns.
Yeah?
Yeah, like some type. I don't know, 370Z, something cool.
Sure.
Like one of the classic ones. That would be super cool. And
is that your show car then? Because you can.
I don't know. I know. I'm not going to change it. I'm not changing
okay, he's locked in.
I'm not changing.
Well, perfect. On that note, where can people find you guys?
So follow us, Gtechniq, NA, Gtechniq _NA on Instagram. You can reach out to me on gtechniq.com. The contact page, that's going to go straight to my email. So luckily for you and unluckily for me, I'll probably have some inquiries from that one. And we also have TikTok, same handle there as the Instagram. So Go ahead and find us there. Don't be a stranger. Contact us. And if you're thinking about doing this, just know that we've got a coating and we've got options for you, no matter your skill level. Talk to us, and happy detailing.
Dan?
You can find us at Gunna Garage. Yeah.
Perfect. And as for me, you found me here, I guess, this far. Carson, thank you very much for making this happen. This was awesome.
Yeah.
I feel a lot more educated leaving this, so the highlights will be a blast. So thanks. Dan, thanks for existing, and we'll see y'all next time.
Thanks again for watching the show, guys. Be sure to go into the description down below and check out all of our sponsors. They are what make this show possible. It allows us to travel the country and talk to some really cool guests. So be sure to check them out, support them just like you support us, and see y'all next time.